When you really dedicate yourself to poker, professionally or even just as a serious player, you're basically signing up for, well, one of the toughest mental jobs out there, right? High variance, high pressure.
Totally. And we see the top players, we see the discipline, the strategy, but what's often invisible is the sheer mental and physical effort needed just to stay at that level.
Right. It's that hidden infrastructure.
Exactly. Poker isn't just a game you play. It's a whole lifestyle. A high-stress one that, if you don't manage it, can actually undermine the skills you need most.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that toll, looking past the wins and losses to the health risks, the emotional drain, and maybe those subtle signs of addiction that can creep in.
Yeah, the things that can turn a passion or even a profession into something really quite damaging.
Our mission here is really to pull together what we know about player sustainability. We want to understand how the environment, the pressure, the long hours, how they all work together to affect your performance and maybe your long-term health.
And these foundational risks, they're pretty universal, actually. Doesn't matter if you're playing micro stakes online or sitting down at a high roller table, the time commitment alone kind of forces players into certain habits.
Okay, so let's unpack the big four lifestyle killers that the research points to. First up, sleep disruption.
Yeah, and this is huge. It's not just about feeling a bit groggy.
No, it's wrecking your body clock, your circadian rhythm, playing late, flying across time zones for tournaments. That irregularity messes with your mood, your focus, your decision quality, big time.
Precisely. And that physical instability. It feeds straight into the second one.
Yeah.
The sedentary lifestyle.
Just sitting for hours and hours.
Yep. And look, this isn't just about feeling stiff. It's an EV killer, truly. Being static like that, whether it's at a real table or staring at a screen, it leads to back pain, neck pain, shoulder issues.
Chronic pain.
Chronic pain. And that pain is a constant distraction. It pulls your mental energy away from, making those crucial calculations.
Okay, so you're physically uncomfortable, maybe sleep deprived. Then you add the emotional roller coaster. This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
It does. Because we all know winning feels good, but the research really emphasizes how variance, those unavoidable swings, they trigger powerful hormonal responses in your body.
Right. So a big loss isn't just disappointing. It's actually flooding your system with cortisol, the stress hormone.
Exactly. And being exposed to that constantly, that anxiety, that stress, over time, that's what can lead to chronic issues. Things like depression or generalized anxiety.
Wow. Okay, and the fourth foundational risk.
This one's maybe the quietest, but it can be really corrosive. Social isolation.
Because you're spending so much time playing or studying.
Right. The sheer time commitment often means less real-life interaction. And what you lose there is crucial. It's your external perspective, your support system.
The people who might notice if you're tilting or struggling with a downswing.
Or even point out those early signs of addiction. When you cut yourself off, you lose that vital reality check, that external calibration.
That makes a lot of sense. So the lifestyle hits you physically, socially. What about the long-term mental cost? The constant pressure, the decision-making.
Yeah, we need to shift from just looking at habits to looking at the chronic challenges. Let's maybe zero in on the physical consequences first, get a bit more specific.
Okay.
We mentioned posture, but that long-term static sitting can lead to really debilitating chronic pain. Things like sciatica, carpal tunnel, the kind of repetitive stress injuries that, frankly, end careers.
And all that screen time, especially for online players, that adds another layer, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Eye strain is almost universal. Prolonged screen time causes vision problems, fatigue, even headaches bad enough that you just have to quit your session.
And what about diet? The research mentioned that too.
Yeah, weight fluctuations, often weight gain, sometimes rapid loss. It's driven by irregular eating, maybe stress eating, relying on quick, often unhealthy snacks to fuel those long sessions. It's all tied together.
So that's the physical toll. What about the mental side? The constant pressure?
Well, that's where the real performance strain happens, I think. You get this chronic, low-level anxiety and stress just from the constant decision-making under pressure. It keeps those stress hormones, like cortisol, elevated almost constantly.
So your body is basically stuck in a low-grade fight-or-flight mode, even when you're just like reviewing hands later.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that skate leads directly to serious cognitive fatigue.
And this isn't just feeling tired.
No, it's specific. The research shows it's the degradation of those high-level brain functions you absolutely need for poker. We're talking about difficulty calculating complex odds, trouble reading opponents or situations over multiple streets, Problems with memory recall needed to profile players effectively.
That's brutal. The very skills you rely on to win are being eroded by the lifestyle needed to play. How quickly can that cognitive decline set in?
It's insidious. It creeps up on you. One study suggested that a player's expected value, their EV, starts to noticeably drop in just the last couple of hours of a long, say, 12-hour session, purely because of errors caused by fatigue. So the synthesis here is pretty clear. Self-care, managing sleep, diet, movement, it's not a nice to have. It's fundamental. It's a performance metric in itself. It's essential for long-term survival in this game.
Okay, now this is where I think it gets really interesting because playing online, that brings a whole different set of pressures, right? Faster, more anonymous, maybe even more exhausting than live play.
Definitely. Online play has its own unique stressors. We see a big spike in screen fatigue, for instance, especially from people multi-tabling. The headaches can be much more intense than reported by live players.
And the multi-tabling itself.
That's the core mental drain online, I'd say. The multitasking pressure. Juggling, what, 4, 6, 8 tables, you're dividing your attention, your mental bandwidth, exponentially.
Sounds like a recipe for burnout.
It really can be. Plus, online gives you instant feedback. Every single click, every decision, you see the result immediately.
Right, win or lose, right away.
Exactly. And that constant, immediate feedback loop. It dramatically amplifies the emotional highs and lows.
Yeah.
You take a bad beat on one table, and bang, that frustration can instantly spill over and affect your decisions on the other 7 tables. Emotional control becomes much harder.
And the digital format, it kind of worsens that isolation problem we mentioned earlier, doesn't it?
For sure. There's a real lack of social cues, none of the table talk or human interaction you get live. It can leave players feeling really detached, quite lonely, actually.
And the anonymity, does that play a role?
I think it can. It might make it easier for some people to behave recklessly, maybe tilt harder, or make poor bankroll decisions because there isn't that immediate social accountability you have face-to-face.
Which leads us, maybe inevitably, to the most serious risk, addiction.
Yes. We really need to spend a moment here because the signs of poker addiction, they're often quite subtle. They don't announce themselves. They just sort of creep into your daily life.
Redefining the game from a skill contest to something compulsive.
Precisely. It becomes a need, not just a pursuit.
So what are the specific warning signs? Things that you, or maybe friends and family, should be looking out for?
The research points to several key indicators, both psychological and behavioral. First, just constantly thinking about poker when you're supposed to be doing other things.
So more than just thinking about strategy sometimes?
Oh, yeah. It's when the game dominates your thoughts. Even when you're trying to focus on work or family or just relaxing, you can't switch off.
Okay. Like being at dinner but mentally running through hands from last night, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. Another big one is feeling restless or irritable when you can't play. It suggests you're becoming emotionally dependent on the game itself, maybe to manage your mood. And tied to that is actively shift, neglecting other parts of your life, hobbies, work responsibilities, social events specifically because you'd rather be playing poker. Poker stops being part of your life and starts becoming your entire life.
Those are clear behavioral shifts. What about the psychological signs?
They can be really powerful. A major red flag is emotional dependency on results for self-esteem. Your sense of self-worth gets tangled up with whether you won or lost that day, which is, incredibly unstable and dangerous.
Yeah, because variance means you will have losing days.
Of course. And perhaps the most straightforward behavioral sign. Just persistent. Difficulty controlling playtime. You intend to play for 3 hours, but you consistently find yourself playing for 7, 8, maybe chasing losses.
That chasing losses point feels critical. I remember reading an anecdote from a pro who said they sometimes felt they had to play until their balance was exactly back where it started, no matter how long it took or how tired they were.
That captures it perfectly, that inability to stick to your own boundaries. And here's a really crucial insight from the research. Even casual players can show these early signs.
Right, it's not just a risk for the pros grinding 60 hours a week.
Not at all. If you let poker start dominating your thoughts, your emotions, or how you spend your time, even on a smaller scale, you could be heading down that path.
Which underlines why having proactive strategies is so vital, not just for performance, but for your overall health and well-being. The research offers some pretty clear advice, sort of summarized as strategies to stay balanced.
These aren't just like vague suggestions. For serious players, they're competitive necessities. First, you absolutely have to set boundaries. Clear start times, clear stop times. Treat it like a job schedule
And stick to them.
and stick to them. Second, take breaks regularly. Get up, walk away from the screen or the table at least once an hour. It fights that cognitive fatigue and eye strain we talked about.
And countering the physical toll.
Yeah, you need to exercise regularly. It doesn't have to be intense marathon running, even just a brisk walk, some light weights, something to offset all that sitting and help manage stress.
Makes sense. And maintain connections outside poker.
Critically important. Actively stay social. Schedule time for friends, family, hobbies. Completely unrelated to poker. It keeps that external perspective alive.
What about mental techniques?
The advice strongly points towards mindfulness and meditation. These aren't just fads. There's good science showing they reduce anxiety and improve focus, both essential for poker.
Okay. And last one.
Maybe the most important for self-awareness. Track behavior. Don't just track wins and losses. Track your time spent playing, your sleep quality, and this is key, your emotional reactions to sessions, both good and bad.
So you can spot patterns, burnout cycles maybe.
Exactly. That data gives you early warnings before things get out of hand.
Okay, let's quickly put this in context using that comparison, online versus live play, because the self-care needs might differ slightly.
They do. The biggest difference remains social interaction. Live play has it built in, there are natural pauses, dealer changes, table talk. Online is inherently isolating. Discipline has to come entirely from within.
Right. And the stress profile.
Also different. Online stress tends to be high and constant multi-tabling fast pace. It can lead to quicker burnout. Live play stress is often more moderate, maybe peaks during big hands, but there's usually more recovery time between moments of pressure.
And accessibility is a huge factor.
Huge. Online is 24/7. It's always there, making it dangerously easy to slip into chasing losses or playing when fatigued. Live play has built-in barriers, casino hours, travel time. Those barriers can actually be protective.
Okay, before we wrap up, we should probably tackle some common myths about the poker lifestyle, things that might trip people up or stop them from taking these risks seriously.
Yeah, good idea. Let's debunk a few.
Myth number 1, poker is easy money.
Oh boy. Utterly false. The research, and frankly reality, shows it demands incredible skill, discipline, emotional control. Believing it's easy is often why people mismanage their bankroll and burn out fast when they hit inevitable variance.
Okay, myth 2, only reckless gamblers play seriously, or that you need to be a huge risk taker.
Also wrong, and actually detrimental to performance. The best, most consistent winners are highly calculated. They focus on maximizing expected value, on making rational decisions, removing recklessness and emotion as much as possible.
Right, calculated risk, not just blind gambling. And the final myth, maybe the most damaging one we see in movies. Stress is part of the thrill. It makes you play better.
Yeah, that's a dangerous one. While a little adrenaline might feel exciting temporarily, chronic stress is absolutely toxic to performance. It degrades your thinking, impairs decision-making, and basically ensures you won't last long in the game. Sustainable players manage stress, they don't thrive on it.
So we've really dug into the shadows here. The lifestyle risks, the cognitive toll, the unique online pressures, the quiet danger of addiction. Understanding all this, acknowledging it, that really feels like the crucial first step to playing smarter and, well, staying healthy.
Absolutely. Which brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to really consider. We've laid out how the poker lifestyle can be uniquely taxing on mental and physical health. But are these risks truly inevitable for anyone who plays seriously?
And the conclusion from the research seems hopeful on that front.
It is. The answer is not necessarily. Awareness, and more importantly, proactive self-care, the strategies we discussed can significantly mitigate these negative impacts. Your long-term success and sustainability in poker aren't just about luck or skill. They're heavily dependent on how rigorously you manage your life away from the table.
So the provocation is really to look inward.
Exactly. Take an honest look at your own routine, your own balance. Is your passion for the game still giving you enjoyment and an edge? Or is the lifestyle starting to chip away at the foundations you need to succeed? That's self-assessment. That might be the most valuable win you can lock up this week.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.